So it's an interesting and cold morning this morning. As you can see, we're in a lovely field, and if you have a look around, we've got quite a lot of these little bumpy things. So these bumps are molehills, and as you can see, there's quite a few molehills around us. So we're here today to install some mole traps. Now be careful if you employ someone to come and do moles, if you've got a serious issue with moles. The problem that you will get is some people charge you per mole. So they'll turn up and turn around and say, well, we're going to trap the actual molehills themselves, come back in a couple of days, see what traps are inside and what they've caught, and then bring you the moles, and then you're paying for the moles. It could be £10, £15, £20, whatever it is they charge per mole. Just be careful, because sometimes what people do is turn up with a pre-bucket full of moles, and they're charging you for something that they caught a couple of days ago somewhere else. You can't bait moles. Two reasons. One, that they won't take the bait. They're carnivorous, they'll eat worms and things like that, so they don't really go for the bait. And secondly, do you really want to be putting poison into the ground? You actually poison the ground, chances are what they call second baiting, another species that you're not targeting can take the bait. So we don't use bait. What we do use is traps. So that there is a trap. So literally the mole runs through, hits this wire here, and the trap sets off. This slams down onto him and traps him. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put that in this here. So I've already pre-dug out one of the molehills, and as you can see where I'm putting this stick, that's the way the tunnel's going. So that's the way the mole has tunneled all the way around. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put this in there against the tunnels, so we're covering both sides of the tunnel. If that one will just go in, it went in a couple of minutes ago when I tried it. So there we go. So we just fit in like that, and then we just gently backfill that in and wait for little moley to come around and get trapped in the trap itself. So we'll be back in several days just to check to see what activity's been inside the traps. So we're going to lay today about 15 traps in total. So we were in on site last week putting down some mole traps. If you remember, this was the area that we put all the traps in. Quite an extensive amount of mole hills. As you can see over there, that's where they keep a horse. So some people will get a bit upset, why are we trapping moles? They're lovely little creatures, etc. But as you can see from all them mole hills over there, they do become a bit of a danger to people and to other wildlife. So for example, there's horses, as I said, that are already trained in this field. They haven't been trained in this field for quite a while because there was some concerns that obviously the hoof of the horse would have gone into a molehill and it would have broken the leg, etc., which meant that potentially the animal could have been put down. Humans, again, especially little children, can fall into them and damage themselves as well. So the most humane way to do is to set traps. You don't want to really be putting poison into ground. One, obviously poison's going into the ground, that's always a bad thing, and secondly, it takes a while for poison to take effect, and it's a nasty way of dying. The most humane way of killing something, I suppose, is in a trap. Even though I'm not a big lover of killing animals, which is a bit of a contradiction in terms, considering I work in pest control, but if you're going to do it, let's do it as painless as possible as we can for the animal itself. So we're just about to dig up one of the mole traps, so this will be the first one we've dug up to see what activity is inside. So I'm just going to move the camera down so it's more over the actual hole itself. So that's the actual molehill. You can see from the stick that we installed last time, it just indicates where about the mole trap is. So this is going to be the first time we've dug it up, so let's see what we've got going on down here. So I can feel the trap, so the trap's just above the surface. There's the actual burrow itself going down that way, as you can see the way the spade has gone into it, and I can see the net. Oh, it's not that hopeful. One of the traps there is still hasn't got. Oh gosh, there we go. We've caught a little devil. So there's a mole. As I said, it's not the ideal way of killing something, but it's the most humane way. What happens is the mole goes in, hits that spring there, and then that catches, and then the mole is instantly killed. So it is an instant kill. So the first one, and we've got a mole straight away. So good result for me, poor result for the actual mole itself. So I just wanted to show you the extent of the issue with these moles. So as you can see, they go all the way up there. Can you see all them mole hills on the side, on the little road there? So you've got to be talking at least 30 mole hills there. The same, I mean, you can see them all around the tree, loads of them there, all around there, and in this little training field just over here as well, you can see them in this little field. So there's absolutely and utterly hundreds of them. So there's easily got to be over 100 in total, and they stretch all the way down right to the very end to where that little silver water box is, right down the end over there. Now we only put down 10 traps. Obviously the concern when it comes to dealing with moles, as I've mentioned before, is like in every industry, you get lots and lots of good people and those that aren't that good, if you know where I'm coming from. And you can get a bit of a reputation with pest controllers. We get a bit of a bad reputation based on one or two bad eggs. It's like all industries, I suppose, if you're a builder, a joiner or whatever. So obviously there was a bit of a concern when we came to do the moles here. You know, to imagine it, the cost to do the treatment of all them is quite excessive, and the owner was a bit wary. So we put down 10 traps in total in this little small area here, where there's about 15 mole hills. And out of the 10 traps, let me just take you over here. As you can see, we caught 3 moles in total. Now that mightn't sound like many to most people, but if you think about it, you know, what's that, 30% success rate, which is extremely good when dealing with moles, because you have to bait every single mole hill. And as you see, what we've done is we try to follow the actual path that the mole would have taken underground to connect all these mole hills together, and that's how we baited it, and we were quite successful. So all in all, I'm quite happy about that. Obviously not so happy about the fact that we've had to kill some moles, but yeah, unfortunately that's a part of this job.